Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome to the August 22nd, 2024 regular meeting of the Code Enforcement Board in Seminole County. It is approximately 1:32, we'll say, approximately. And if I can ask the Madam Clerk to do the roll call, please.
Yvette Brown.
Here.
Dennis Warren.
Here.
Catherine Townsend.
Here.
Mike Synan.
Here.
Dudley Bates.
Here.
Craig Davis.
Here.
And for the record, Kevin Andino Ross is excused. Don Peterson is not present.
Thank you. We're going to get started first with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by swearing in of witnesses. If you're here to speak today after the Pledge of Allegiance, please remain standing. You're going to get sworn in. After that, I've got a few things to share with you, information before we start the meetings. Just takes a second. And so let's, with that, get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And remain standing if you're going to be testifying today.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And I'd like to recommend, before I read you what I need to read you, that possibly if we can get a motion to revise the agenda so that we can take those that are present first, followed by those that are not. It looks like we have one case where they are present, at least the case that will need to be heard. That's the first case, Maria Miguel A. Leon. Again, that's on page 1. My recommendation is take that one first, followed by the cases after that. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Synan, second by Mr. Bates. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Mr.
that's what we...
Chairman, just for the record, number 6 is in compliance before hearing.
Is he here?
Nope, nobody's
Okay.
present.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, case number, item number 6 on page number 3, John F. Matoya. He has come into compliance before the hearing, so we're not going to be hearing that particular case. And that being said, let me read my little thing here. Good afternoon and welcome to the August 22nd, 2024 hearing of Seminole County Code Enforcement Board. Before we begin, I'd like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Code Enforcement Board. The meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government and Sunshine Law. Therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or arguments to offer. It is required that every person who appears before the Code Enforcement Board needs to be registered with the clerk. The cases where the respondents are present and signed in will be heard first. You will be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk. Once all the cases where the respondents are present and have been heard by the Code Enforcement Board, we will hear the remaining cases as they appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents, which is right up here. The county will present their case first, and then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, please limit your comments to only information related to this case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the Code Enforcement Board. The board will then make their decision based on the evidence and testimony as presented by both parties. All proceedings before the Code Enforcement Board are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table when you're up here and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance due to a hearing impairment or language barrier, please inform the clerk. All cell phones and other electronic devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. With that, if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and get started. Starting with the first item on our agenda, it's on page 1. It's case number 24-74 CEB. It looks like Maria Miguel and I guess Leon Miguel at 1208 Helen Street, Apopka, Florida, 32703. And yeah, if you can have a seat at the table. Once you get seated, if you could each identify your name and your relationship to the case.
Okay.
Hi.
Good afternoon.
And your name, sir?
Ruben Leon. I'm Miguel Leon.
Okay, thank you.
Brother.
And you're one of the
Esther
owners?
Michelle Helton, daughter of Miguel Aureli Leon.
Okay. And Mr. Leon, you're the owner, one of the owners?
Yes.
correct? Thank you so much. Okay, that being said, Officer Adair, whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Sonoma County Sheriff's Office South Region. This is case number 24-74-CEB. The respondents are Miguel and Maria I. Leon and Miguel A. Leon. I would like to present a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 1208 Helen Street, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E, abandoned or junked vehicles. The initial inspection was on April 19th, 2024. Notices to respondents were April 19th and May 3rd, 2024. Compliance dates were May 3rd and May 17th, 2024, and the follow-up inspections were May 3rd, May 20th, June 17th, June 26th, July 24th, August 9th, and yesterday, August 21st. There was also the follow-up inspection. The abandoned or junk vehicle violation remains on subject property. So this is on the initial inspection on April 19th, 2024. Shows the vehicles. There's a follow-up inspection on May 3rd showing the vehicles in the same state. A follow-up inspection showing even more vehicles. There's a truck. I believe there's 4 different vehicles plus a golf cart and a boat. There's been no change since June 17th. This is date of posting on August 9th, no change, the vehicles remain. And this is yesterday's inspection, vehicles remain the same position. The suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is, based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-74-CEB, it is determined that the respondents Miguel and Maria I. Leon and Miguel A. Leon are the owner of record of the property located at 1208 Helen Street, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records, are in possession or control of the property, and are in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of September 9th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all inoperable vehicles or store them in an enclosed garage or permitted attached carport. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair? Just so I'm clear, the vehicles that are the violation, is that the 4 and probably not the golf cart, right? Is it, you said there's 4 vehicles, a golf cart, and a boat. Which ones are in the violations?
All of them.
Okay, thanks. Okay, no other questions? Folks, this is your opportunity. Who'd ever like to speak first in regards to, that's the presentation, that's what we're considering. You saw what's being recommended, and that's why we're here today. So,
I'm sure the sheriff, he knows the situation. In that list where it says Miguel and Maria Leon, and then Miguel Leon is my father, who passed away. And for about 4 years, we've been trying to get my brother's grandson, his father got killed in '89 by automobile accident. He's been breaking the law, and then every time that he gets bail, he goes back and he is sleeping in that limousine for years. And we've been asking him to leave, you know. But I cannot take the law in my hands. I cannot assault him or nothing. I just have to go by the law, wait until we can have enough time to have the addiction that we did. Last time that we came here, we went back for the addiction, and we pay almost $500 so far. Every time we go, it's $41, and then the copies of the papers, and they posted the 10th, a paper on the wall, and they said they in
Tommy J. Leon is in Georgia with his mother, and he's coming back and forth.
Is that your brother?
That's the person that lives at 1208 Helen Street, and we got an eviction notice that was on August 10th. He got served at 8, but it's 30 days he has to remove the stuff. We just need enough time so it can be legally ours to move it if he doesn't want to move it. That's the problem. We got to give him his space because of the eviction notice that he has. He had 5 days to apply to sue us, and he doesn't have the right to move, but he's already passed those days. So now we have to wait 30 days for him to move his stuff, because that's his right. And then if he does it, it's legally our stuff, and then we can do whatever we want to remove it. That's the issue we're having.
Mr. Simon, you have some-
Did you bring a copy of this eviction notice today?
Yes, I did. She has that lady over there.
And when does that become official?
He got served August 10th at 8 a.m.
So it'd be 30 days?
Yes. That's his right of an eviction, and we
But
just
that-
did it last month.
That's what the sheriff told us yesterday. But actually, we don't know if they see him or they give him the paper, or maybe that is just the paper that they put on the wall.
No, Bobby. No, it's not the one, because I called the sheriff's office this morning, and they said he got served at August 10th at 8 a.m. He knows.
Okay, and is there a reason why the vehicles,
He keeps
Haven't-
bringing vehicles every other month to that house.
okay.
We don't know.
Because of the pictures that we've seen,
always the same.
absolutely nothing has happened in the 4 months.
No, because he's not there. He's in Georgia. He's coming back and forth, back and forth.
Have you made arrangements so that, judged on this, September 10th, you'll be ready to move everything out when he doesn't comply?
When it's legally ours?
Correct.
Yes, we will.
You've already
move it
made that
out.
arrangement?
I will bail that out. I will get it towed. And then it's his problem to see where they bailed it at. Yeah.
Can I ask the clerk, can we get a look at this, what she filed?
And while that's being passed to Mr. Simon there, let me ask, excuse me, the name of the person being evicted seems to be the same last name as you.
He's the grandson of Miguel Leon. He's the grandson.
That's the gentleman that passed away.
No, that's the one we're trying to evict out of the house.
Grandfather is the one who passed away?
Yes, grandfather's passed away.
And,
No, I'm sorry. No. The grandmother passed away. The grandfather is my brother. He's in my house. I'm taking him to get chemotherapy and radiation for his cancer in the bladder. And
So,
he cannot
I'm
live
sorry, who's currently in the house?
in that house. Nobody. He got it frozen. He had problem with the neighbors in the corner, and he said that they killed his dog. And he has electricity put in there, and in the freezer he got the dog in there. It's been for 4 years, 3 or 4 years. It's in the living room of the house. It's not furniture inside the house.
He's trying to preserve it.
okay, and I'm sorry, but Tommy's relationship to you, sir?
He's
He's your nephew, if I'm following you right?
yeah.
Your brother's son?
Okay, his father was my nephew. His father was my nephew,
Okay.
the one that got killed in automobile accident.
How long has this house been vacant?
For 4 or 5 years.
But him living in it.
But he
Staying
stay
in
in and out, in and out.
Okay,
It's not roof in the house, in part of the house is,
I'm just, like, I think Mr. Simon was trying to figure out
It's not
why
living
4
condition.
months has gone by and still nothing's done, and,
because
Because we gotta wait for that
we-
eviction for him to get the law, for him to get 30 days to get his stuff out. Because we already got the eviction, and it's done and paid for it, and it's done and served. But he has his time to get his stuff. So when that's up, then it's our turn to take the rightfully owner his stuff legally to move it.
but he hasn't been there for 4 or 5 years?
Not this month. No, he's been there 4 to 5 years, not this month, because he's got a case in Georgia. Yeah, he's got problems in Georgia.
And you're, what's being-
Niece, he's my nephew.
Okay. I'm good there. The suggestion is that we give you until September 9th to have that stuff moved, or there'll be a fine, or have somebody have it moved, or there'll be a fine that would start at $100 per day. That's what's being considered. What's your request?
A
Yes?
little bit more time for that eviction to go through, because he has 30 days.
30 days from August 10th.
From August 10th. So it would
Yeah.
be September 10, they would theoretically then have the ability to work with this.
Then the stuff is our stuff. Actually, not ours, it's my dad's. It'll be Miguel Leon's. Because that's how an eviction works. You get the property, you get to own the stuff when someone doesn't want to move it, or it's time up from an eviction.
The bottom line is, on September 10th, you'd have the authority to remove it all.
if we get it.
So,
We hope. I don't know.
and just looking at this, I'm still trying to get this fully cleared up. Miguel Leon is no longer with us.
Yes, he is, that's my father.
Maria Leon,
She's
She
deceased.
passed away 3 months
also.
ago.
Miguel A. Leon?
He
Is my
passed away.
brother.
No, yeah, is my dad. He's alive, living at his house with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he is the one that will have control of this property?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, now I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
But he cannot do it. He's
He can designate you two.
Yes, we're the ones handling that, yeah.
Okay, today being the 22nd, I believe, what date are you all requesting an extension till on the compliance date?
the officer knows the situation. They know him more than me.
And we'll let him speak here in a moment. Any others?
So
I'd just like to ask the clerk if what the, I guess, last day that code enforcement can add this as a case for the next meeting. So we're going to be meeting in the 4th week of September.
My deadline is this next coming Tuesday.
Oh, okay. So if we give them an extension beyond this and they do not comply with that, we won't see this until October at the minimum.
Correct.
Thank you.
I will not be here in October. It'd have to be pushed to December.
That would give us more than enough time. Everything should be cleared, grass cut.
So again, the date that you're, or,
Yeah, we need to hire somebody to cut trees in the back that are dead, falling on top of the house.
today, we're just here for this vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much time? We go by calendar dates here, so we're going to have to come up with a motion that has a calendar date or a number of days, and we'll figure it out for you.
We just hoping for this court to help us so we can solve the problem.
How can we help you? How much time do you need? We need a number or a calendar date.
As soon as possible.
I'm
December?
I'm ready
You ready?
to make a motion.
Okay.
Because
Mr.
if we're not going to see the case regardless until December,
Can we do December?
if we're not going to see the case regardless, this is 4 vehicles that have to be dealt with. I'm going to make a motion that we grant an extension for them to comply until October 10th, which would be 30 days after they gain control of the property in September 10. Give them 30 days and see if they can get these vehicles removed. And then if not, removed by the 10th, if code enforcement finds that the property is still not in compliance, then we would declare such and begin the fine of $100 per day.
I have
make
a
a
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Ms. Brown?
Why don't, if you're trying to give them more time, why not do 60 days, just to be consistent? And that way, it's Monday, October 21st. So it's actually giving them a little more time than even what you're asking for. And then at that point, because my concern is if you start to pick specific dates, you're not going to be consistent within your own cases. We've got, if you look under your
They don't
calendar.
have control of the property, so that's why I picked the date that I did.
That's fine. If you look under your book, under calendar,
Mm-hmm.
there are breakdowns of compliance dates, 30, 45, 60, 90, 6 months, 9 months, a year. It's done to help you be consistent.
Okay.
So if that's what you're intending, my
So-
recommendation would be to change it to 60 days, October 21st. And then if it's not in compliance, the fine starts accruing until they're in compliance. You would treat it like any other case.
Okay, so then I will move that they are given until October 21st to come into compliance. And if not, then the staff's recommendation would come into effect, and the fine would be $100 per day.
I'll second that.
I have a question.
Well, hang on, we're in the middle of a motion. Motion by Mr. Sonnet, second by Mr. Bates to accept staff's recommendation, however, extending the compliance date until October 21st. Is there any further discussion on that? Mr. Towns, you have any thoughts? One moment, I see the wheels turning here. Okay. That being the case, everybody understand the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's what we've done, extended the compliance date until October 21st.
That's fair.
Okay, and you've...
We're happy with that.
Okay. Just make sure you do it because the fines kick in
Yes.
immediately,
We
okay?
understand. That should give us enough time to.
Excellent.
I have a question. Is he allowed to move the vehicles when it comes in our possession?
Don't believe.
Not allowed to give you any legal advice.
Oh,
Sorry.
I didn't know that.
Okay, okay, I guess we're done with this one. Thank you so much for coming. And that brings us to our next case, which is item number 2, same page. Case number 24-76 CEB Agnes Muay Chia, 110 Midway Drive, Altamont Springs, 32714. Officer Adair, this is your case.
Good to go?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-76-CEB. The respondent is Agnes Muchia. I'd like to submit a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 110 Midway Drive, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. My initial inspection was on May 5th, 2024. Notices of respondents were on May 15th and May 29th, 2024. Compliance dates were set for May 29th and June 12th, 2024. Follow-up inspections were on May 14th, May 29th, June 12th, August 9th, excuse me, and then yesterday, August 21st, 2024. There was also a follow-up inspection. The uncultivated vegetation violation remains on the property. So this was taken on May 6th, 2024. It shows the state of the vegetation well exceeding 8 inches. This is a follow-up inspection, May 14th. The grass remains in the same state. Follow-up inspection on May 29th. There's been no change to the vegetation. This is on June 12th, a follow-up inspection. The grass remains over 8 inches. This is data posting on August 9th. There's been no change. You can see the posting, or the grass is well over the posting. And this is yesterday's inspection. There's been no change. Suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-76-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Agnes Muchia, is the owner of record of property located at 110 Midway Drive, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of September 9th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation over 8 inches in height. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Adair?
Officer Adair, have they given you any reason why they aren't complying?
I've actually never had any contact with them. I've sent out my notices and they have not reached out.
Is the house, are they living in the house now?
No, ma'am, I believe it's vacant.
Did you post the orange sign in the yard?
Correct.
On this one?
I move that we accept the staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion to accept as recommended? Okay. And then a second motion by Mr. Bates, second by Ms. Townsend to accept as recommendation as presented. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to jump here if it's okay. We had a party come in, let's see, it's on page 4 of 11. It's item number 7. It's Simon Pugh. The one case, the address for this, are there any objections to that? Okay. Address is 114 Plymouth Avenue, Altamont Springs, 32701. Officer Adair, this is your case as well. Oh. Mr. Pugh, once you sit down there and get comfortable, well, first, we'll need to swear you in, sir. I'm sorry. If you could remain standing for just a moment and raise your right hand so the clerk here can swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes. Thank you, sir. You can be seated, and once you're seated, if you could tell us your name and your relationship to the case. Are you Simon Pugh, sir?
Right.
And you're the owner?
Well,
Oh, you're the owner of 114
yes.
Plymouth Avenue? Okay, thank you. Officer Adair, whenever you're ready.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-47-CEB. The respondent is Simon Pugh. I'd like to present a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 114 Plymouth Ave in Seminole County, Florida. The violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, or A, rubbish. The initial inspection was on December 14th, 2023. The code board order date was July 11th, 2024, and the follow-up inspections were July 11th, August 7th, and yesterday, August 21st, 2024, results of follow-up inspections. The rubbish violation no longer remains on property. So this is a reminder picture of the initial inspection, what it looked like on December 14th. This is a follow-up inspection on July 11th, showing the rubbish is still there. And this is a follow-up inspection. I believe his son, Joseph Pugh, called me saying they were in compliance, so I went out and re-inspected on August 7th. And this is yesterday's inspection. So in the last two pictures, the rubbish was taken care of. There's no more water heaters, nothing on the front. So the suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-47-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Simon Pugh, is the owner of record of property located at 114 Plymouth Ave, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and was in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board, based on the findings of fact, conclusion, and law and order, the board issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $2,700 for 27 days of non-compliance from July 12th, 2024 through and including August 7th, 2024. At $100 per day, and the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after August 22nd, 2024. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Questions for Officer Adair? I've got one. I see the date that of the board, and I may have missed it when you were going through your presentation. In front of the board, June 27th. When did you start dealing with this? Do you have a date when you started dealing with the property? Maybe I missed
The initial inspection of the property?
Yes, yeah.
That was December 14th, 2023.
Okay. And is there any history, and we're here for a lien request, by the way, folks, but just curious, the history as far as any progress or non-progress?
So up until the hearing, when was it, last month or the month before when we initially heard it, there hasn't really been much progress. He's a scrapper, so he kept bringing it back to the property. And I believe it was August 11th or August 7th. That's when his son reached out to me and was like, hey, we're going to fix this. Just give us more time, come inspect. $100 a day is a lot. So we're in compliance, come do a re-inspection.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, we are here for a lien request, and
So he is now in compliance?
Correct.
Okay. And so this lien would essentially be in arrears, right? Because it's for before he brought it into compliance.
The lien amount is for 20 days, 27 days of non-compliance. So the date was set for, when was that? So it was set for July 12th. That's when he was supposed to be in compliance. He never met that date. And his son reached out to me 27 days later on August 7th saying we're in compliance now. So that's what the lien amount's for. I also have the administrative cost.
How much are the administrative cost?
So mine would be $300.40, and then the county administrative costs are $193.48. So total, $493.88.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Pugh, this is your opportunity to speak. You've heard the presentation. The recommendation today is to put a lien on the property due to all those days that it was not in compliance, which would be a $2,700 lien. So this is your opportunity to speak. Go ahead, sir.
Well, first thing come first, I don't read and write. I have to do everything by, see, a lot of people read and write and they can catch up with things. I can't read and write. Never did. And I'm 75 years old. And the reason I'm scrapping it because back in the years, I had my own landscape business. And the government kept taking all my money. So I had to do something to get them off my back. I turned the landscaping over, quit, start scrapping. And that's how what I've been living off of ever since then, about 23 years or something. That's what I've been living off. And my wife too, but she passed on a couple of years ago. So, if nobody don't try to help me, I have to help myself. And that's the way I had to do it, by scrapping. But I don't scrap much now because I'm old, and the sun seems like it's hotter now than it ever been before, if you're outside. I can't do nothing like what I used to do, and I got enough sense up here not to try. Just do the best you can, trust in the Lord for the rest. And that's what I've been doing. So I just scrap, get a little stuff in. Now, a lot of people, they done almost stopped now, but a lot of people used to keep me stocked with stuff there. The stuff was there wasn't what I put there, it was what somebody come by and give me and put it there. And all the time I didn't have time to get rid of it, so it stayed up there a while, and then finally get rid of it. I thank God for the people that saw my need instead of my fault and come to my rescue.
Thank you, sir. You're finished?
But I don't know what you need me to do. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, this is a lien request. Of course, we're not here to rehear the case. It's wide open. Recommendation, of course, is to impose the lien for $2,700. He's in compliance now. We were given the admin cost, $493.88. If it doesn't have to be that, it could be less, it could be more, it could be the lien amount. So that's what we have here.
Officer Adair, is this in a neighborhood or is it kind of isolated?
It's in a neighborhood in East Altamont.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to suggest reducing it to some level of administrative cost. I'm not sure exactly what flexibility we might have in that regard, but at least reduce it down to the $493.88. If there's any consideration for possibly less than that, I would certainly entertain that as well.
Ms. Townsend, did you have?
I'm in agreement with the $493.88. Was that a motion you just made?
Kind of halfway, I was suggesting.
I'll second that if that's your motion.
Could we hear from the respondent? He had raised his hand that.
I missed it, sir.
Okay. From the situation that I'm in, this scrapping is the only money I make because I'm too old to get a job. And I got slow, used to be fast, used to do a whole lot. I hope a lot of people, when I was back in my younger days, time will make the clock stop.
And just to clarify here, the action that we're considering taking is that we place a lien of $493.88, correct?
But when what replacement?
Or set a time for him to pay that.
We could
But that's kind of open-ended.
Yeah, we could accept the lien amount that's up there, we could change it, we could waive it, we could, it's open.
I mean, if we're,
We can't increase it, but everything else going backwards would be allowable, I believe.
but this would be a lien, this would not be a fine,
If
correct?
that's what the motion is for the lien to be in place, that's,
So if you reduce it to an administrative cost, you provide him a reasonable time to pay that amount, and if he's unable to pay that amount within that time, then it reverts back to the original amount, and then at that point, the lien is filed. So that's an option. You either, and the motion I heard was reduce it to administrative cost, provide him a time to pay that. I might have heard also reducing that administrative cost, and you can do that as well if you agree to a number. There is no set number, and you can also waive it. So those are your options.
I would
But it doesn't
definitely-
become a lien until he fails to make the payment if you choose to reduce it to administrative cost.
Is there a standard time then that he has to pay the administrative
It's
cost?
up to you. Reasonable time could be 30 days, depending on his financial circumstances. It could be 60 days, it could be 90 days.
I would definitely smile a lot if the original motion were removed, because what's going to happen here is he's not going to be able to afford to pay this $493, and then the $2,700 lien's going to be placed on his house. That's what's going to happen.
and let me just throw in also, we're all about compliance, coming into compliance.
And this property is in compliance.
Well, we could give him a year to pay that $493.88, correct?
Yes?
Yes.
Or we could,
So you have a motion, you have a second, you've had discussion. Yeah, you had a second.
Okay. So the motion was to accept staff's recommendation as presented? That's a motion, and that's a second?
No, the motion was to reduce it to administrative
administrative
I'm
cost
sorry,
to be paid
$493.88.
within a certain amount of time.
yeah, we haven't designated the time yet, so let's do that before we take a vote. And what's the person who made the motion's opinion on that?
I'd say 6 months.
Mhm.
If he's,
It's roughly $85 a month.
pardon?
That's roughly $85 a month.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, does that amount and time period work for you?
If I don't do no more scrapping, this is good. I ain't gonna have nothing to do nothing with, period. Because I can't get no job. Too old. And so that's where I'm standing at now. As the old saying goes, I'm standing in the need of prayer. I need prayer to help me get through what I am in. Like I said, my wife passed on a couple of years ago. I ain't got no help now. I'll do what I have to do. And in order to keep from being put out the door, get that little scrap stuff, sell it, pay my bills I got to pay, and that's the way I work.
This is the exact reason why I would like to see us do the 493 as a lien and not as a reduced to administrative cost. This is going to end
Because birthdays
with the
gonna keep
2,700
coming.
no matter what,
That's it.
unless we specifically direct it not to end that way.
And ain't nothing I can do about it. Health and strength gonna disappear. Ain't nothing I can do about it.
At $41 a month.
How is it going to end up at 2,700 if we don't vote to do the 493?
Because this bill is not going to
I'd
be.
like to amend my motion to reduce the lien to $493.88. Period.
Second.
And within what time?
And I made the second, but it's.
Just a lien, like a lien.
Oh, okay.
With no specific time to pay it back?
Correct.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm on.
Just like any other lien. So then he'll end up with a lien for $493.88 on his house. But as long as he stays there, it'll just sit there.
And he can pay it off at any time.
Yes.
Okay. You need to have, it was I guess you made an amendment to your motion, so the second has to,
I'll second it.
okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Simon, second by Mrs. Towns.
A motion by Mr.
Oh,
Bates.
Mr. Bates. I get lost in this, sorry. Second by Ms.
It's
Townsend.
an amended motion.
He's much better looking than that.
An amended motion to simply impose the lien, period, for $493.88 administrative cost, as administrative cost. Any other discussion on that?
Just like to publicly thank Mr. Bates.
It was just a joke.
Oh, okay.
It's not a joke. I sincerely thank you.
Mr. Pugh?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, sorry, I'm getting lost in this. Okay, that's the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, Ms. Townsend voted nay, the rest agree, or voted yes, aye. That's what we've done. We've imposed a lien that goes against the property, but the fines stop accruing at this point, so long as it doesn't happen again. And the lien sits there until you pay it, or until the house is maybe sold one day, or changes names. Okay.
Let the good Lord take me out of here.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for coming and
Thank
taking
Good
care
luck
of
to
it.
you.
thank you all very much.
Yes, sir, thank you. Okay, and that brings us to, on page 2, the item number 3, it's case number 24-77 CEB, Clemmy T. Lockett, 79 Spring Street, Altamont Springs, 32701, and also 24-78 CEB, Clemmy T. Lockett, same address. Officer Adair, if you want to just do them consecutively in your presentation, please.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Sumner County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-77-CEB. The respondent is Clemmy T. Lockett. I'd like to present a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to clerk as Exhibit A. The violation is located at 79 Spring Street, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. The initial inspection was on April 5th, 2024. Notices to respondents were on April 23rd and May 7th, 2024. Compliance dates for May 7th and May 21st, 2024. Follow-up inspections were April 22nd, May 7th, May 21st, August 9th, and August 21st, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the rubbish violation remains on the property. This is my initial inspection of the house. On April 5th, you see the trash pile on the curbside and the debris left over from, I guess they gutted the inside of the house. They left it in the front porch. Follow-up inspection on April 22nd, there's rubbish on the side of the house and the trash in the front remains. Follow-up inspection on May 7th, same status, the rubbish in the porch and the front yard. Follow-up inspection May 21st, same condition. This is data posting on August 9th. The trash remains out front. And this is yesterday's inspection. There's been no change. The suggested recommendation is, based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-77-CEB, it is determined that the respondent, Clemmy T. Lockett, is the owner of record of property located at 79 Spring Street, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records. is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of September 9th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the rubbish from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions, for Officer Adair, before he goes into the next one? Mr. Bates?
Any contact with Ms. Lockett, any at all?
No, sir. So she has, unrelated to this case, another property in the area. It goes to this mailing address, and this mailing address goes somewhere else. So I've just been trying to catch her.
Do we know, I mean, there's garbage bags out front. Why is the garbage not being picked up? Is there something in it that prevents the regular trash service, or?
I tried to ask that. I believe the county told me, due to the materials inside, it was building materials from a project I guess the homeowner started. That's a reason why. They weren't very clear on that with me.
Anything else before he moves to the, okay, the secondary case to this, the respondent, please?
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-78-CEB. The respondent is Clemmy T. Lockett. I'd like to present a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to clerk as Exhibit A. Violation is located at 79 Spring Street, Seminole County, Florida. Violation charge, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. Initial inspection was on April 5th, 2024. Notices to respondents, April 23rd and May 7th, 2024. Compliance dates were May 7th and May 21st, 2024. Follow-up inspections, April 22nd, May 7th, May 21st, August 9th, and yesterday, August 21st, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the uncultivated vegetation violation remains on property. So this was on my second inspection. It's not the initial inspection. This is when I first observed the uncultivated vegetation. This was on April 22nd, 2024. Follow-up inspection on May 7th. You can see the grass has grown over 8 inches. Follow-up inspection, May 21st. You can see the grass by the front with the trash bags and in that little corner in the front yard, still growing uncontrolled. This is an inspection on data posting, August 9th. You can see the grass violation remains. And this is yesterday's inspection. You can see where the postings are. The vegetation is well over 8 inches. The suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is, based on testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-78-CEB, it is determined that the respondent, Clemmy T. Lockett, is the owner of record of property located at 79 Spring Street, located in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of September 9th, 2024. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all uncultivated vegetation over 8 inches in height. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any other questions on this cultivation?
Can we cover both of these with one motion? We
I don't
need
think so.
separate motions?
Separate motion.
Okay.
So the first one, if there's no other questions, we'll move to the first one here. If there's a motion, 24-77 CEB, this is the rubbish case. The recommendation is compliance by September 9th or $100 per day fine.
I'll move staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by Mr. Simon, to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the second one is Case number 24-78 CEB, recommendation there saying compliance date September 9th, 2024, or $50 per day fine from that point forward.
Oppose staff's recommendation on that one as well.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by Mr. Sinan. As I had just read it, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Moves us to the next case. It's on the next page. Item number 5, 24-87 CEB, John and Jacqueline McFarland, 300 Marjorie Boulevard, Longwood, Florida, 32750. Officer Hill. No? No Hill.
Tammy Lewis.
Okay, hello. Haven't seen you in a while. You don't look like it. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Joanne Tammy Lennis, Code Enforcement Officer, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, North Region. For the record, I'm submitting a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case number 2487 CEB. The respondents, John and Jacqueline McFarland. The violation charged is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, is defined in 95.3E. This is located at 300 Marjorie Boulevard. This is abandoned or junk vehicles on the subject property. And I will provide you a little history on this because this is more of a recurring violation. So in 2023, I issued a notice of violation for the abandoned junk vehicles. Was issued on 6/19/23, and a final notice of violation issued on 7/17/23. Extension was granted until 8/31/23, and that 2023 case was closed, and the property was considered at that time to be in compliance after the inspection on 10/12/23. I received another complaint on March 26, 2024. And that was my initial inspection. Another notice to the respondent for junk abandoned vehicles on 3/27/24. The compliance date of 4/15/24 with follow-up inspections 4/10, 4/16, 7/18, 8/6, 8/9/24, and 8/19/24. On 8/19/24, I actually met on site with the property owner, and I had been in discussions with them via email and on the phone prior to that date, starting in 2023. So you see in the photo, this is historically. So when I first went out there in 2023, you see the vehicle all the way on the left. It's a Mercedes. It's in the weeds, overgrown. They were cited for that at the time, so don't concern yourself with that. So that vehicle on that day did appear to be inoperable, but I did not have evidence in that moment in time about that one. You'll see on the next photograph, there's one underneath that little canopy, and there's no wheels on that vehicle. That does make that inoperable. There was a series of cars that were coming and going. The next photograph, 7/17/23. We have more of the same inoperable vehicles, and the one questionable on the left side, that one on the left being an old Mercedes. 9/7/23, you'll see the one on the side still there, and was having a communication via email with the respondent during that time. On 8/2/2023, there was an email, and Mrs. McFarland was asking for more time. And again, there was emails between 7/8 and 8/13. I did ask her specifically about that one Mercedes. One of the other ones were removed, repaired, and she had asked for a little more time just to get it in nice shape, but I actually did not have clear evidence that it was inoperable. So moving forward, at that time, that case, shortly after that, that case was closed because it was mowed and it appeared to be different at that point. So in this photograph, on 3/26/24, we see that vehicle was not cleaned up. It is not moved, and now the grass, weeds is all growing up around it again. And the next photograph, that's some of the cars that are sitting there. I'm not sure if they're operable at that time or not. Next photograph on 4/10/24. Now, this is where it appears that that Mercedes might be under that tarp, and I don't know how it got there into the driveway area. Next photograph, there is a different inoperable vehicle now on the other part of the driveway. That vehicle we saw in an earlier photograph, but it was not on Jack's at that time. Next photo. 4/16, the red vehicle is still there. That other vehicle is still under a tarp, I suspect is that old Mercedes that you see the patch on the left where that Mercedes is no longer there. Next. And that I still believe to be that old Mercedes on 4/30. Next. Again, still trying to determine if that is still the Mercedes that I believe to be inoperable on 7/18/24 under that tarp. Next photograph, and it looks a lot better. It does look kind of cleaner. Maybe it had a paint job. I'm not sure if it's a very close model. It appeared to me, if not the same one, on 8/6/24. Next. And this is the posting for the notice of hearing on 8/9/24. Next. And this is a close-up of that vehicle still sitting there with the tarp. It does have a tag on it now. Initially, that vehicle, the one that was in the grass, never did have a tag on it. Next picture. Okay, now I was able to find 2 photographs and zoom in enough to find the blemishes, so they are actually the same vehicle. Definitely, the one on the right is cleaned up, but the blemishes are there, and so I determined that it still is very likely to be inoperable. I never saw it move, and if you go to the next slide. Okay, so when I met with Mrs. McFarland on the 19th, I did ask her to demonstrate that that vehicle was operable along with the others. The others were, and this one was not. There is no battery. They do not have a battery for that vehicle, and they are now ordering it. She is a teacher, and she asked if she had to be here today. She didn't want to take off from that job. So I explained to her what my presentation would be. We were in agreement. I asked her if 2 weeks was enough time. She requested 3. So I did change my recommendation based on what she believes she needs to get this vehicle a battery and make it operable, and that will resolve this violation. So suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-87-CB. It is determined the respondent, John and Jacqueline McFarland, are the owners of record of the property located at 300 Marjorie Boulevard, located in Seminole County, is determined by the property appraiser's records. They are in possession or control of the property and in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3E, and further recommend the board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of September 12, 2024. In order to correct the violation, respondent must remove the violation of abandoned or junk vehicles from the property. If the respondent does not comply with that order, a fine of $100 be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions, Officer Tamulonis?
You said they came into compliance at one time last year, is that correct?
It was my understanding at that time, without proof, solid proof of that vehicle on the left, that, yeah, aside from that vehicle, that they were determined, to be in compliance at that time.
Was there any fine or lien at
No.
that point?
No, that was just from the notice of violations that I had issued, and they had removed some of the inoperable vehicles, and so I closed that case without further evidence about that one Mercedes.
So they were aware, though, that they obviously weren't supposed to do this?
Yes.
Okay.
You said you had been in contact with her. Is someone else that lives there involved in the car business or something? Because like there was the one red car that was on the jacks and now appears to be gone from the pictures that you showed us.
Right, yes. Well, I did have strong concerns about there being a business operation, whether it be the buying and selling of cars or detailing, because I would go by and see the doors open. And I've had long conversations and emails with her about different things, and it all seems to match up that maybe somewhere in her past, she might have, I didn't get that detail, she might have bought and sold some cars. But what the main idea here is that this property is kind of new for her. She had a couple of different things going on. She was downsizing from a farm that she had, I believe, in Volusia County, and they did have a lot of vehicles on that property. She was getting rid of those vehicles in the process of downsizing. She also had a daughter that was moving from another state to here, and so there were definitely vehicles coming and going that made me suspicious of that. I spoke to her about that, and she said this is the last of the vehicles that they had been trying to get rid of, so there should not be anything further with that going on.
Also, I saw that she had asked for an extra week, and it seems to me like all the other cases had September 12 as the compliance date as well as this case.
I had initially put in my PowerPoint for 2 weeks, which would have not been September 12th. So she
Gotcha.
asked for an extra week and, on top of that. So I just made it September 12th for her.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Simon?
I move that we accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Simon, second by Ms. Townsend to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Moves us on to our next case on page 5. Case number, it's item number 8, case number 24-55 CEB, Mary L. Wilcox, Air, 9636 McNorton Road, Altamont Springs, 32714. This is Officer Adair and the single case. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Code Enforcement Officer Cameron Adair, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, South Region. This is case number 24-55-CEB. The respondent is Mary L. Wilcox. I'd like to submit a copy of this PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit A. Violation is located at 9636 McNorton Road, Seminole County, Florida. The violation charged, Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. The initial inspection was on January 4th, 2024. The Code Board order dates was July 11th, 2024, and the follow-up inspections were July 11th, August 9th, and August 21st, 2024. Results of the follow-up inspection, the rubbish violation remains on property. So this is the Code Board. This is the day the Code Board was ordered for. You can see the rubbish remains on the property. This is data posting on August 9th. I spoke with the homeowner, Mr. Rogers right there, and the rubbish remains. And this is yesterday's inspection on the 21st. It shows the rubbish actually got worse from the posting date. The suggested recommendation by the Code Enforcement Officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case number 24-55-CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Mary L. Wilcox, is the owner of record of property located at 9636 McNorton Road, located in Seminole County as determined by the property appraiser records, is in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3A, rubbish. It is further recommended that the Code Enforcement Board, based on the findings of fact, conclusion, law, and order, the Code Enforcement Board issue an order constituting a lien in the amount of $4,200 for 42 days of noncompliance from July 12th 2024, through and including August 22nd, 2024, at $100 per day. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after August 22nd, 2024. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Just clarify for me, you had mentioned that you met with the owner, Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
How's he fit into this, if you have Ms. Wilcox?
I believe that's his mother, and she passed away.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Did you get any indication of why nothing's being done here?
So the previous code enforcement officer, Vincent Bravaro, before me, he's had to go out to this property multiple times. He always cleans up either a little bit or always to come into compliance, but then he keeps doing it. So he also mentioned being a scrapper as well. So that's why he's still in violation, still continue to accrue all the junk.
Did I understand correctly that somewhere along the line, this actually got worse instead of better?
Correct.
And the name just rings a bell to me. Does she have other cases, Mary Wilcox? Maybe not.
We heard it like a month or two ago.
Yeah, we had her in June on this property.
I got you, okay. All right. Any other questions? Again, we're here for a lien request.
I move the staff's recommendation.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Bates, second by Mr. Davis to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And is that it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, you all can read at your leisures the rest of the cases that were not heard today and the reasons why. And if you could, let's see, just look at the schedule, the date for the next meeting, September 26th. If anybody has any issues with that date, please let the clerk know as soon as you determine that. Is there any other business, new business?
Approval of the minutes?
Oh, goodness gracious, yeah. Okay, the minutes. Yeah.
Move to approve the minutes from the July 25th meeting?
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes by Mr. Simon, second by Mr. Bates, to approve the minutes of the July 25th, 2024 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yep, and now we get to the, okay, and anything else? Anybody have any other business? No?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, that being said, we'll conclude the meeting. Thank you for being here.